Thank you.
Well, aviation enthusiasts are coming together to celebrate a big anniversary, 100 years since Alcock and Brown's historic transatlantic flight. The duo departed from St. John's on June 14, 1919. Well, today, reporter Jeremy Eaton got a glimpse at how that anniversary will be remembered.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
At the 150 Royal Canadian Air Force Wing in St. John's, the suits gathered to talk about what was in store to honor British aviators John Alcock and Arthur Brown.
At 1:45 p.m. on June 14, 1919, 100 years ago almost, the famous duo of Alcock and Brown took off from Lester's Field right here in St. John's, barely clearing the treetops with their fuel-laden Vickers Vimy.
I saw the sky once for long enough to fix our position by the stars.
But it wasn't easy, fun, or very safe. More than 16 hours in the air, 2,800 kilometers before crashing in Ireland.
They were in an open cockpit plane. They only flew about 100 miles an hour, but I mean, you get a 100-mile-an-hour wind hitting you in the face. That's pretty significant. It was cloudy almost the whole way, so they had to rely on what few instruments they had in those days. At one point, they apparently lost their perspective, and the plane wound upside down, spinning towards the Atlantic Ocean.
It's a big deal for the aviation industry and even bigger for this province, enough to get the group Aviation History Newfoundland and Labrador to spearhead the event and score a few $100,000 from the federal and provincial governments.
It set the stage for the commercial operation and the viability, and also it set the stage for the success of the wars as well, moving people and troops across the Atlantic.
The transatlantic aviation industry today was born on the 14th of June when Alcock and Brown lifted off from a field not very far from here.
This is where it all began. It's now a Legion here on Black Marsh Road, but it used to be called Lester Field, and this is where Alcock and Brown started their historic transatlantic flight 100 years ago. Now, to commemorate that, there is this monument here behind me. There are plans for locally made statues of the two men and an updated memorial. Alcock's nephew is coming to town for an aviation ball, concert, and even a commemorative craft beer. Jeremy Eaton, CBC News, St. John's.